Good to go, Dan.
Thank you, and welcome to a presentation about the Rugby Coach Weekly Club Partnership Programme. My name's Dan Cottrell. Quite a few of you will know me. I've been running or looking after Rugby Coach Weekly for 21 years, 22 years, 2003 started up, and it's developed into a magazine and website which is aimed at all levels of coaches. And we're really excited because we have put together a club partnership program, which one or two of you online are actually already involved in some way. Now, my background is that from Bristol originally, played a bit for Bath, Bristol, went into teaching, was director of rugby at Cranley School, and then started up Rugby Coach Weekly. Since then, I've been lucky enough to coach with the Welsh women in the 2010 World Cup, with the Ospreys under 16s, with Surrey under 16s, under 18s, with Bristol Schools, with Bristol Bears, and my son through Mumbles under 6s through to under 16s. So I've coached at lots and lots of different levels, but I've also managed to be involved with the WRU, the Welsh Rugby Union, helping develop their curriculum. I developed an internal curriculum for Rugby Coach Weekly. I've done a curriculum for T1 Rugby, for World Rugby, and various other bits and pieces of curriculum. But this is where we are now with Rugby Coach Weekly, and I want to introduce you to what we're doing. So we understand that good coaching makes a massive difference. Who does it make a difference to? Well, inevitably, it makes a difference to the players. We know that, but we need to think carefully why that matters. But also, it makes a difference to the people who are coaching. And we sometimes forget that our focus is so much on the people in front of us. We forget about ourselves. We forget about the coaches around them. So we want to elevate those people who are the coaches who are in front of the players. Because if they're enjoying what they're doing, if they understand why things are working well, they will keep in it. They will enjoy it. They will look for more coaching. They will look to improve. So in your club, you will have a whole bunch of coaches. Now, some of these coaches will be highly focused, and other coaches will be, I'm just sort of helping out. I'm not sure how much I'm involved. Within the coaches you've got, some will be lack experience. Maybe their ideas aren't yet fully formed. And inevitably, because rugby is naturally a game for rebels, you'll have coaches who will not agree with each other. Now, that's not necessarily going to be a problem in some cases because we want to have a range of different thoughts. But we want to create a sort of one club atmosphere for some good reasons. Now, we also want to attract coaches into the club. And why are they going to come to the club? They're going to come to the club for various reasons. Mostly probably because their child is already there, but we want to bring them in to the coaching group. And we also want to make sure, and my animation skills are at their top level there, we want to make sure if they're thinking of leaving, that we stop them leaving. We keep them involved. Now, inevitably, coaches will leave through reasons like they're moving away, their child stops playing, but we don't want to lose coaches who should still be with us. So we're going to talk a bit about a curriculum. Now, this word is bandied around a lot, and I think there's a danger that we get put off what we're trying to do by the fact that there's this idea that we've got to stick to a curriculum. There's something that is heavy and it doesn't flex to what we need. But we need to understand that it's important first and then understand what it means to us. So I break it down into three areas. Without it, we're doing what I call naive coaching. Naive coaching is when we put together a session, lots happens, but it connect to what we've done in the previous weeks. So it is not helping the players develop. It's not connecting what they've done in previous weeks, in previous years. So we want to put them on this journey to becoming better players. Now, within that, of course, we've got a rugby element, but we've also got a people element. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is about the rugby journey and the specifics to that. But of course, we've come into coaching to develop the people, to create the values, or sort of develop the values of rugby around that. So overall, we are creating stronger players who feel that they're being successful. And that success is, it may come in wins, but it's individual success. It's things that they feel that they've done a bit better than they've done in previous weeks. So our curriculum, I've spent a lot of time on curriculum and curriculum research. I've reached out to lots of people in building curriculum beforehand. And in this one in particular, I've reached out to experts across sports and in the education world. But I'm not someone who thinks that we've just got to drill in technique after technique. My philosophy is that we've got to try and get it into a game as soon as possible. I'm not saying that we don't spend time on technique. That's absolutely important, especially in the safety aspects. But let's get it into a realistic game situation. And that game's got to look like rugby. It's not a game of something which is not rugby. It's got to look like rugby. We might just change around some of the parameters, but it's going to have a rugby ball. We're going to be playing north to south. And putting those two together and then mixing in our coaching craft, we can get players who are coming away from sessions looking forward to the next session because they have felt that they have developed. We've built on what they know already. And if something's slipping, something fading, we can just bring that back into sharper relief for them and remind them of what they're good at and why the game is good. And we mustn't forget that it's often said that rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, and every player can bring their own talents to it. It doesn't mean that they're going to be the fastest runner or the best passer or the best kicker, but there's lots that they can do. So why do we want a plan? Well, we want a plan because we don't want to think every week, what am I supposed to be doing next week? It's got to fit to our needs, and it's also got to be flexible. In other words, that it'd be lovely if we knew exactly how many training sessions we're going to have. And all of us who are in club rugby, some of us are in school rugby, but in club rugby, we know we've got no idea how many players are going to be with us at a training session. It'd be lovely if we had every single player there every week, but it's not going to happen. And also, we're going to have things where it's going to be rained off, there's going to be holidays, so it needs to flex to our needs. So, a little car journey that we're going to go on. But to be effective, we need to be spending the most time on the most important things, and that's our time. That's our time outside training. We've got limited time. Most of the people who are coaching are probably busy people already. The reason why you are coaching is because you get things done. But the reason why you get things done is because you're successful. So we want to help you get the best out of what you know and deliver that on the pitch in the best possible way. That's just on the individual basis, but why we want to weave it together is that everybody is developing together. Now, this doesn't mean that you are developing a game plan which is exactly the same from under 8s through to the first team. That's a separate issue. You're building the core skills in a way that every player should be able to be capable of moving to whichever system you are building for the future. So how do we put this together to help flex to your seasons? Well, we think that for each age group, there are 12 sessions, and we'll talk about what a session looks like, which if you did the 12 sessions and no more, you will have covered the absolute essentials for the year. That crafted delivery of the key areas of the game. Now, if you've got more time, then there's going to be 8 sessions that you can put on top, and they build on what you've done in the previous 12. They're not trying to advance the players up a year. They're trying to make the breadth of the players' understanding deeper. And finally, if you've got the time, then we can add in extras, which again aren't going to be pushing the players to a year group above. They're going to be saying, we've got this skill, let's explore it in a different place. So in a moment, I'm going to go through what it looks like on the screen. And it is definitely something which is adaptable. So some of you on the call here will be very expert coaches, and you will be just saying, right, I know I've got to be doing A, B, and C. I can do A. What's an idea for B? All right, that's there. But for the less experienced coaches, they're going to have something which is more concrete, something that they can fall back on. So when you go onto the site, and you're one of the curriculum club partners, you will see this new button called curriculum. And underneath that, you will find out about what the curriculum looks like. You've got a little bit of an introduction to it now. Each curriculum's got groups under 8s through to under 16s. We haven't done one for under 7s. The site is full of stuff for under 7s. We feel that under 7s should be enjoying rugby as a sport, as something that they are building as friendships. It's under 8s where you might have a little bit more intentional work, but the real spiral curriculum will come at under 9s. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So let's jump into, say, under 12s, and each year group will have a brief introduction to what we're going to help you focus on for the year. And then from there, you can access all the sessions. Now, underneath that, we also explain why we are focusing on these particular areas. Now, you notice for the under 12s, we've put 5 skills. Now, you might say, well, where's evasion in this? Where's support? Well, we understand that support is very much part of contact, ruck, tackle, handling, kicking. It is underneath that. So most of those will have support. And evasion is part of only contact. So we're not going to separate that as a skill because it's tied in to those skills. You'll also see, and I think this is for me the most powerful part of the curriculum, is the tactical awareness, and I'm going to touch on that in a moment. And then we know that from under 9s through to under 13s, there are some specific set pieces which you'll need to concentrate on. When you get to under 14s to under 16s, we have an under 14s to under 16s curriculum which will not be woven into the weekly sessions because you'll have more time, you'll be focusing on tactical parts of the game, but we'll give you the ways to work on things like the lifting and the pushing and the throwing, the hooking, etc. Here's how a 12-week block is sorted out. Now, if you've got super strong eyes, you'll be able to note that in the top section, we've got 2 skills in every week. Now, that doesn't mean you won't be doing tackling every week. You may do tackling every week, but this is the focus. This is where we're saying, let's spend a little bit of extra time. This is where we're going to be intentionally working on something around tackling and maybe something around kicking or rucking. And then there will be some attack and defense awareness and some set piece. And here's the spiral. At the start of the season, you start at the bottom of the spiral and you build out. That means you're not doing everything in week 1. But what you're doing is you're layering on a little bit more complexity to the players. So they're not having to think about lots and lots of things. They're focusing on a little piece at a time. And also it's great for the coaches because, again, you are developing a tactical awareness. Now, this tactical awareness isn't the big picture. It is not how we're going to play a particular system. It is areas like connecting in defence to a ruck, working as a 3 in defence, working as a 4 in defence, working in a 2v1 in attack, how to create quick ball. So that's what's underneath. Here's what's going to happen on the pitch. Each session has a detailed understanding of why we've put things into places, why we're focusing on these areas in particular. Now you can see that we are focusing on two skills. There's a tactical awareness which is going to maybe focus on attack. Now it doesn't mean that there won't be any defense going on, but you are focusing on attack this week. This is where your emphasis is going to be. And we've got two skills sections. Now you might say, I'm going to work on basic passing. I've got a great exercise already. But here we're going to give you great examples of simple to set up exercises which you can use with your players. My suggestion is it's about a 5 to 10 minute section of what you're doing in a session. So you get a couple of those to make sure that you are covering off the core skills for that area. If there is a set piece, we're going to give you time to spend a little bit of time organizing a set piece. Again, it might be, here is kickoffs, but for the scrums, when you're building the scrums at 10s, 11s, 12s, and 13s, it will be detail on what you should be focusing on. For instance, with under 10s, we're saying don't do hooking until week 10 because hooking is not a crucial skill at this stage. It will be at under 11s. They need to know how to do it, but let's not spend time on that now. Let's do that later down the line when we've got other things in place. And then I think a powerful, really powerful part of what I've tried to create here is lots of games where the players can start to put the skills into place, create some more tactical awareness. Now, these games are aimed to be simple in the sense that they are very easy to set up, probably just changing the numbers, maybe an overload or an underload, maybe changing one rule around the tackle, one rule around the ruck, and that's it. So the coach doesn't have to spend hours trying to work out 15 different rules. They just say, right, it's going to be 8 versus 4. If you're touched, you've got to go down and present the ball 2 players over. Let's play. And you'll be doing this game 2 or 3 times, maybe in a block. So you'll be coming back to these games. It's not they're going to have different games every single week. There will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Then you're going to come back to it, but there's going to be another one, another one, another one. So lots of little games to help build their tactical awareness, which looks like rugby. Now, if we go back to here, you'll see at the bottom there's how to finish the session. So just a suggestion on you. I mean, we all want to play a game at the end. Whatever the numbers, how could you slice up the game to give them a better experience? And maybe just a few ideas on a few little wrinkles that could help sort them out. So that is what it looks like in terms of a curriculum. So the partnership benefit is that you get that whole curriculum. That is there. That's all the age groups. It gets completely onboarded. And as the season goes on, we don't just give it to you and say goodbye. We are constantly in contact with you to help you flex with your teams, speaking to your coaches. And one of the things that we offer is it's called RSTAN. It inevitably probably comes through to me in the end. And I'll be there to say, to answer all the sorts of questions that coaches come up with. It might be some very detailed ones on how to do a particular part of the game. And I might be able to say, right, have a look at this or do this. Or it might be some bigger issues around dealing with players who are at different stages of their learning journey. And I've got about 5 or 6 ongoing conversations at the moment, and we are keen to hear from you. But it may come through the coaching coordinator, or it might come straight to me. And of course, there is still access to the 4,000 odd articles, drills, games on the site. Also access to all the webinars and all the support that comes through there. We don't want to be a static site where maybe 1 or 2 bits of content appear all the time. We want to be continually developed to flex with you. We want to listen to our partner clubs. We're already listening to what people are saying. We've got this number of sessions, we've got these issues, and we are saying, okay, try this, try that. Or if we don't know the answer straight away, we'll come back to you. So that is the partnership. Our aim is to help you train your current coaches to make them better, to retain them so they don't leave. And also, a coach can arrive and they can feel confident that coming into a place where they're going to be well supported and looked after as coaches. Because in the end, the better we are, the more that we feel confident, the better our players. And it is a wonderful, virtuous circle. So, um, I'm going to ask Steph in a moment to find the link. She's probably thinking, where have I put that link? Sorry, Steph, to somebody throw that onto you. But keen to speak to people. I've been speaking to lots of people in the last few days already. Really good to catch up from coaches from the States and from Belgium, as well as local ones literally up the road, or actually one from Lucca today, where I used to, just close to where I lived. So there we are. So Steph's put that in for a call. So that's enough of me talking at you. Does anyone want to fire in questions? I'm going to suggest that you maybe just tap into the chat and then we can go from there. So please feel free to ask any questions. Well, it seems like I've done a good job of either sending people to sleep. Ah, yes. Right. So, when absolutely that is the key question. Um, in terms of pricing, we speak to each club and we need to flex to the number of coaches you've got and the requirements. So, when drop us a line and when we come on the call, we'll talk about what will work for you. So Keith says, would you? Yes, we would do this as well, as we would work out in the part of the package on in-person coach education. We're doing this. I'm off to New Milton on next Sunday to work with all their age groups throughout the day, as an example. Yeah. So absolutely, in terms of the pricing, we will send out, when we speak to you, we just need to know how many coaches you've got, your circumstances, and then we'll come out with our pricing, the package which we hope will work with you.
Evening, Dan. Dermot here from Barnet Elizabethans. Can you hear me?
I can, Dermot. Good to speak to you again.
Yeah, how are you?
Good.
Quick question. So is it, in effect, the club signs up and then we can kind of get all of our coaches get the Rugby Coach Weekly package? They're able to access all of the content. So instead of them signing up individually, we can kind of sign up as a club, so to speak.
Yes, yes. So I probably should have made that clear. So you would sign up, let's say we've got 40 coaches in the club. Every single coach gets that. And what we recognize is that probably 15 of those will be on it all the time. Some of them will be shared stuff and some will never even get to the login. We wish they would. I mean, that would be great. But that's exactly what we would do. Every single coach would have access to what's all the content.
And the logistics behind that, so we just have a single club login and password, or we'd sign up all the guys individually?
So what would happen is that you would just send us an email address for every coach who is you want to be a part of it with an age group as well, because that helps in terms of just helping get the right sort of content in front of them when they go on. It just puts a bit of content in front of them which is more age appropriate, and then that's it. They're off and running,
So
and
they
then
they
you
have
can
their
say.
own login then.
Yeah, they have their own login. Yeah,
Yeah,
so they don't
perfect.
come. They don't go through the club. However, we know that as the season goes on, coaches come in and come out. So you just say, "Look, we've got a new coach just arrived." So we would give them a login well, they would just, you'd send us the email and we would get them to be logged in and off they go. So
Okay.
yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't replace the RFU qualifications. However, the RFU recognise that they can't cover everything themselves, so they have obviously a base level of qualifications. But what they're keen for coaches to do is to do the qualification and then to seek more ways to coach. And so they understand that there are people like us out there who are developing these curriculum products or these exercises. And I work closely with the RFU on a number of different things, and I'm keen to make sure that I complement what they do. I don't say I'm going to do every way that they do it, but it's still got to be follow through the treads of respect and sportsmanship and all those sorts of things, which are absolutely key. Yes, thanks, Keith, on that in terms of they want you to keep doing it. Yeah, they want you to keep as much as possible to further yourself. And that's what we're keen to do, is keen to help coaches feel that there's always somewhere where they can come back to. And sometimes one of the coaching coordinators I spoke to today says, frankly, I would love to just be pushing stuff in front of everybody all the time, but they've got to be doing lots of, well, probably some of you are coaching coordinators online here, and you know that you're probably spending most of your time sorting out admin, discipline, finding coaches and that sort of thing. So we're trying to give that sort of support to save you time, and so you can spend more time on building the sort of key relationships within the club.
Hi, Dan. Sorry, it's Dan Steeds here from Old Lanians.
Oh, hi there.
Even though I think it's come up as my wife's name on there, but it's interesting. But yeah, and I do the under. You gave us a great session on the under nine last summer, if you remember. We were obviously moving to under tens. I just wondered. I know that I think the younger age groups, and I speak from personal experience, will probably have a lot more interest in this than the older age groups, just because, as you say, people develop at different times, the coaches develop, they get more experience. But I know under nines, under tens, particularly as we're, entering those first contact sessions, et cetera, to have this framework or a framework for each session would be, I think, invaluable for the coaches. But I'm just wondering whether at the older age groups in the club, they're going to be like, yeah, we're not that fussed about it. So right now, you're offering this package to the club as entirety. Is there a possibility to split it out by age group? So if I just said I really would like it for my under 10s, but I'm not sure I can persuade other people in the club to take it.
It's got to go across the whole group, but there is a potential that we can talk maybe about a minis and juniors split. So I recognize that under 14s and above is different. And it's more appropriate that you are focusing on under nines, under eights through to under 13s.
Okay.
But again, it does depend on the number of coaches that you have in your club. But let's definitely let's get on a call and see if what we can do to work out something which suits that. But we wouldn't split it down into just separate year groups.
No, fair enough.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Of course, I'm going to send out the recording at the end, and people have, we would love you to just jump on and book a call with us just to talk it through, see if it works for you, and see if the flexibility. And as an example, so I am talking to guys in the States. They've got a slightly different pathway, so we've flexed the curriculum to meet what they've got. Talking to a guy in Wales today, and I know the Welsh pathway extremely well because I helped write the WRU curriculum. Again, we can just to help the coaches work out how to flex the curriculum to meet their needs. Okay, so that's half an hour of a Wednesday night listening to me, which of course for some is maybe the highlight of their week, but for many probably got many better things to do. So it's been lovely to have so many of you online. Lovely to see and hear from people that we speak to a lot, and that's always great. If you have got any more questions, then please drop us a line. But in the meantime, thank you very much for coming along, and I hope to speak to you at some stage in the near future.
Cheers, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers, Dan.
Lovely. Thank you.